they going to visit?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Go down and get a coffee.
Welcome to the Raleigh Board of Selectmen meeting of February 2nd, 2015. Time being 7:05. I'll open the call of meeting to order. Okay. Our first order on the agenda is Pledge of Allegiance. Karen, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Karen. Okay. Our next order on the business is January 26, 2015, emergency meeting on historic blizzard. And our first agenda item under that category is ratify state of emergency declaration. As of 5 p.m., 1/26/15 to 12 a.m., 1/28/15. We had declared a state of emergency because of the blizzard. And we just need to ratify that vote, so I need a motion to ratify.
Make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded to ratify the state of emergency declaration. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, the second item under that is ratify closing of Town Hall Annex and Library. 12 a.m., 1/28/15 and the Town Hall and the Annex would be, and the library would be closed, and there'd be no work done from 5 p.m., 1/26/15 to 12 noon, or 12 a.m., 1/28/15. We just need to ratify that closing.
Give you that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. From 7:05 to 7:15 will be citizens' query. Our next item on the agenda is appointment, a 7:15 joint meeting, Board of Water Commissioners to discuss Penachuk contract and Prospect Hill access road. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just point out that Chairman Ricker informed Doreen that he would not be able to make the meeting this evening, and I did speak to the Vice Chairman, Stuart Dalzell, who is working this evening.
Okay.
So there will be no joint meeting to
Okay.
discuss those issues.
Very good. So I think the board really needs to kind of review those two items, and there is a piece in your packet. So
Maybe at 7:15, the board could just take that out as it's scheduled on the agenda.
that would be a good idea. So it's not 7:15 now. General business, request from Pine Grove School. Okay, request from Pine Grove School PTA, social request for second annual spring. Social. That's not on. Dave, you want to check that door, please? And please tell Mr. Smith to leave the door closed.
Our resident ghost.
Pine Grove School PTA is asking for a donation of an experience, under quotation marks, with the Board of Selectmen to be auctioned off at the second annual spring social. Okay, I can read the letter here. It's actually to Deb because of my request, but.
I think the board, Mr. Chairman, has already, we put this in your folders a while ago.
Did you get a chance to read it? Okay.
I think everybody read it and understands. They're looking for a donation of an experience with the selectmen.
Has anybody got any ideas?
Are they looking for one selectman or
No,
a board of selectmen? Or?
I think that they would be welcome to have any number of selectmen.
I think, especially the PTA, they got the lease off, and one of the examples that they gave me at the time they were talking to me about it was the fire department. As long as they sign a waiver, they get to ride in the fire truck from the fire station to the school one day,
Oh,
because they blow the siren and do those kinds of things. So, considering we don't have any sirens or anything like that, I'm not sure how we handle that part of it, but that's what they're looking for. Now, whether we can come up with something for one of our meetings, have somebody come in, make them chairman of that particular meeting, or something like that, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how we'd handle it.
Yeah.
I really don't.
right.
That would make them feel like they were being part of the, participating with it,
Yeah.
so.
Have they made any suggestions?
That was one of them they made.
Oh, okay, okay,
So,
okay.
but I'm not quite sure how the logistics would work. I mean, it's not like we could,
Mhm.
like the town clerk, they could bring one in, sell one, and show them how the town seal works and those types of things, we really don't do much like that.
This is not a show and tell, like, here's the selectmen and
It's really,
what do they do and,
it's almost like junior selectman of the day or something like that.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
That type of thing.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
Maybe they could sit with the selectmen at some portion of the meeting, and we can, I know the table's already undersized, but if the board wanted to have a meeting upstairs in our formal
Mhm.
setting,
Yeah,
which is very official area, maybe something like that, or,
That would be nice, I think, upstairs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and when is that social, Deb, did they say?
well, they're gonna have the auction on, March.
The event will take place on March 21st at Governor Dummer's Academy. This adult-only evening will include dinner, cash back, etc. Make every child's potential a reality by engaging and empowering families and communities to advocate for all children. That's what the PTA does.
That would be March 21st?
March 21st is when their actual meeting is, and when they'll do the auction.
Right,
So it'll
Okay.
be after that
right.
if we set something up. So why don't we give it some more thought?
Okay,
And kind of think about it a bit. And I think if we could do something like that upstairs, particularly a meeting where we might have
Mhm.
something that we could add and have them vote on it or something,
Sure.
type of thing. So maybe a little plaque or something like that,
Mhm.
a ribbon or whatever.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty neat.
Okay, so why don't we think about that a little bit
All right.
and see how that works. Okay, that was the request from Pineville School. Okay, item number 2 is 2015 IRS mileage reimbursement rate. The IRS mileage reimbursement rate has increased from .56 to .575 cents, effective January 1, 2015. The board needs to vote to approve the new rate.
I'll give you the motion, Mr. Chairman.
second?
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 3, request from Friends of the COA to use annex parking lot and lawn for annual yard and bake sale on May 16th with a rain date of May 17th.
I'll give you a motion, Mr. Chairman.
The second?
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we got about a minute left. Can we do the first one in a minute?
I think
No,
so.
maybe just go over.
Well, I mean, if we wait,
I wouldn't worry about them. Half a minute.
yeah, I think we're ready to take up these.
okay, just a reminder, the Citizens Query closes at 7:15. At this point, it is closed. Okay, so we're back to the appointment. Which is a joint meeting, but it's not a joint meeting. We need to discuss the Pennachuck contract and the Prospect Hill Access Road. Okay. Yes.
Might be, rather than read this whole contract, it might be good to have the town administrator kind of review. We met with myself and I believe you were with us, right, Mr. Chairman? Myself and somebody else met with Penachuk and the water superintendent. Town administrator was here.
I was there.
The town treasurer was here and
I
we
don't,
discussed.
I don't remember it myself, but.
All right,
No,
so maybe you weren't, but maybe the town administrator could just explain
Yeah, I
what this
can,
is and the need to ratify it tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, so, as the board understands, the contract with Penachuk expires on February 11th, so I had been having discussions with Penachuk Vice President Bernie Russo over the year 2 of the contract, and we discussed the startup of the system, and establishing the customer service database, and then we discussed the fact that over the course of this past year, there's been a lot of additional work related to setting up reports and accounts receivable reports and other data analysis, water tier usage analysis and things like that relating to the water rates. So we agreed that it would be prudent for the town to continue with Penachuk. They do billing, so they produce the bills, they mail the bills, they do all the collection, even, so we're not worrying about getting bills and payments here. Everything is handled by Penachuk. They post it, and then they're in constant communication with the treasurer's office. And the third thing is the customer service component, which provides service from 7:30 in the morning till 5 p.m. Monday through Thursday. So there's a call center, and there's records kept on every phone conversation with customers, detailed data. So there's a whole history now we have on every customer usage. Every call is inputted. So we have a lot of services coming out of this contract, but we have asked for a number of additional services out of this company. So Mr. Russo and I agreed that a sum of $8,000, $50,000 for the base contract and $8,000 to continue with the additional work would be necessary to keep up the current level of service that we have. So I have asked for the board to consider renewing the contract. The water superintendent, in your package, there should be a memo from her. She can testify to the fact that she has been on the phone weekends, evenings with the manager, the finance manager of Penachuk, and treasurer collector Karen Summertier, and I know she can explain a lot more, getting the details on those reports I just mentioned, right?
Right. I mean, basically, because the water department didn't have a superintendent for a long time, there was no one who had any kind of even historical data from, the past year. So basically, the way Penachuk's system is set up, they need to extract the data for us because the way their system is set up, it includes all of their customers. So it's not like we could tap into their database because we have access to more, than we were entitled to. So, I mean, Tara King has been working with Mary Beth on, some tier analysis, things that are going to help them with their budget for this year. I know they're talking about doing a rate study. And, basically, they helped with the liens. They helped with, they're helping monitor collections. So there's a lot of things that they're doing that are outside the scope of the original contract. And, it's a lot of time on their part. It's a lot of time on Mary Beth's part. But basically, it's IT work. It's someone, pulling out that data and creating those reports.
So, yeah, Matt, there is a letter here from Mary Beth Wiseman, the water superintendent. Pretty much echoing what you said, Karen, and then requesting that the Board of Selectmen approve the contract. Is there any discussion from the board?
I'll give you the motion, Mr. Chairman, to
I'll
approve the contract effective February 11th, 2015.
And I'll second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried.
I don't know anything about water tanks, so I'll
Okay.
see you all.
Good night, Madam Treasurer.
So there's two originals, Mr. Chairman.
I signed, yeah. Did you sign too? No.
No.
There is two.
One for the town and one for the vendor.
We'll have to send them back down the other way when you get done.
Okay, oh, yeah, okay. Whoops. There you go, Jack.
The breeze came through and froze my brain.
Whoop. Getting away. Mr. Chairman? Oh, I have the pictures.
Okay, good. Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Very good. You got anything else on that? Okay. Under the same joint meeting of 7:15, Prospect Hill Access Road. As most of the townspeople may realize is that the town's water tank, supply tank, 2.25 million gallons of water is at the top of Prospect Hill. And this road is the access road to that site. Also, there is a communications tower up there that is owned by Crown Castle with cell phone information that goes through that, cell phone calls and things. And also the town's communication system, particularly with the fire department, the police department, and the light department, go through that same facility that's on that tower. The road is in terrible shape. We have a report from the fire chief, and what was the other report that we got, Deb?
For the conservation agent.
Conservation
so-
agent also inspected it and came to the same conclusion, that it's basically impassable at this point to get vehicles up there. And it is a very important site for the communications. If something should happen to the tank, if we should get a leak up there or something, they would definitely need to be able to get access to that. So we need to, I would like to at some point, talk to the water commissioners and see what action can be taken to make that road passable. Have you got anything you want to add, Deb?
I know that we would appreciate a joint meeting with them to discuss a collaborative approach between using general fund sources and water enterprise fund sources
Okay.
to cover the costs for the essential repairs that are going to be needed to make that road improved in a good state where we can avoid the runoff that we're experiencing right now.
Yeah.
There was just some heavy rainstorms this past December that caused some washout conditions on that road.
Right. Yeah.
So the superintendent, actually back in December, was reaching out to various contractors for some solutions. She had contacted the conservation agent So things, you need to be facilitated, obviously, until we get through the height of the winter season. We wouldn't be able to do that, but we should probably have a dialogue with the water board and start discussing a plan of action, and that includes also the proposed funding sources to make that happen.
Right, okay. So Bob, I know you actually went up and inspected it yourself.
Mhm.
Could you give us kind of a breakdown of what you found?
On the 14th of January in the afternoon, I had Captain Emery and myself, and he took me up. We were going to attempt to go all the way up the road, but then as I looked at the road, at the bottom of the road, and you can see here, as you look up, you can see the old water tank
Yep.
here. You see a jack right there. You see the road there, and you can see Captain Emery standing in the gully there,
Oh, this is wash away.
right there at the gate.
Wow.
So he was he was down about, I would say, about almost a foot in some places in those gullies. You can see him right there.
Oh, yeah.
Particular.
It's all washed out.
It's all washed out. But seems like most of the damage is from the old water tank down the road. That's where all the water builds up and then just rushes down the hill and just be eating the road away. I would think that if we got a good, good size, a larger aggregate, and drop it from where the old water tower is down from there, we could solve a lot of the problems. And we'd probably also at the same time cut back on the road where the vegetation is grown in.
Maybe kind of.
And I think a joint collaborative between the water board, the water department and the town is the solution and the way to do this.
Yeah.
And plus, what we have up there is, as you said, the cell tower and also the radio gear for police and
Communications.
fire.
Yes.
So,
And the grade from the old tank to the bottom of the hill is not all that bad. It gets very much more grade up as you go higher. The very top of the hill is quite a high grade there, so.
and when we were there, and I turned to Captain Emery and I said, I don't think we should go up the road. We could have done it in an emergency, the four-wheel vehicle that they do have to go up the road, but I just said, nah, it's much better that we just, I was just concerned the icing conditions that
Yeah.
particular day.
Okay.
So all those ruts are all iced in, so even though it looks,
Yeah.
it looks, level, those ruts go down probably a foot anyways in the lower part of the road, so.
Okay.
All right.
So, yeah, we need to maybe contact the water board and see if they'll set up a meeting for us to get together. Whether
Yeah,
they
so
want to come to one of ours.
I know the Vice Chairman Dazal had suggested maybe next Monday, February 9th.
Okay.
So I would suggest then on the 23rd, we have the Central Street hearing, so.
Yes, yeah,
It would not be a good evening, and
no,
otherwise we're looking into March.
yeah. Well, why don't we try for the 9th and see what we can get done?
Okay.
If the light board has their radio up there, maybe they could kick in a small pittance to the fund.
It's possible.
Yep.
Maybe
We
it'd
could
be
approach
something to
the-
consider anyway, to kind of split up the cost as best we can.
Mm-hmm.
And also when we do it, I think, seems like the water runs down the middle of the road. If we could make sure we pitch that
If we
road so
could
the
kinda
water
crown
stays
it,
off to
and
the sides,
I
I think that
think
would create a,
That's probably why we haven't had
Yeah.
as much issue with it in the past, because it was kind of crowned before. and
yeah,
it
it's
was run
probably
off
over
to the
time, it's
sides,
just
and
worn down.
And there's vegetation there which holds the soil in
Yeah.
place, but right in the middle of the road, now that it's leveled off, and comes down there, it just washes it
Yeah.
right out.
No, it's bad. I took a look at it myself one day. I mean, I don't know what they'd even do in the wintertime. With the weather here, I don't think anybody can get up there.
Oh, I looked at it, I think, in an emergency, yes, you could get up there,
Yeah,
with a four-wheel
Yeah,
drive.
but right now, there's 3 feet of snow.
If you
Yeah, well,
needed-
right now, yeah, that's true too, but.
If
But I mean, yeah, it definitely needs to be done.
But if you needed
Sooner
equipment
rather
up
than
there
later.
for
Yes.
something else, such as if you had a water break, a
Oh,
main
sure.
break or something, you need a backhoe or something like that to do the digging, I don't think you could make it up there. I really don't. It's too, way too much ruts. So. Okay.
Actually, I think it's gonna be worse when in the spring runoff.
Yeah, you're probably right, Bob, particularly with this winter.
Mm-hmm.
I hope this stuff doesn't all melt at once. Okay, so now that brings us down to new business. And we have a letter from Town Planner Kurt Baker, re Wild Pastures Estates subdivision as-built plan. The planning board is working with the developer of Wild Pasture Estates on the first steps of the road acceptance process. The planning board first needs to approve the as-built and make sure that all the town departments are satisfied that the work by the developer has been done correctly and to their satisfaction. Once the planning board makes that determination, and they feel that the road is ready to be accepted, they will notify the Board of Selectmen in writing that the road is ready to be accepted and to request the Board of Selectmen to hold a street layout hearing. Debbie will then request that the developer's attorney provide her with a street layout plan and a deed containing the metes and bounds of the property. Debbie and the town's attorney will review these documents. The Board of Selectmen will then hold a street layout hearing. Debbie will also work on the town meeting warrant article. Tonight, the Board of Selectmen needs to review the as-built plan this evening. If there are any comments, the board needs to vote to send them to the planning board on Wednesday, February 11th, 2015. Okay. Okay, these are sheet 1 to 5, sheet 1 of 6. I don't know what we got here. Okay, Bob, we're gonna tap into our prior planning board days,
Okay.
and you can kinda look at this for us and tell us what we see. And Spencer knows what-
Spencer knows that's the connection, but that's blocked off over here.
At this point in time, is it ever gonna get open, do you think?
I don't think so.
Okay.
That's a guess of my, in pure
Yeah.
conjecture.
Okay.
I don't think so, okay? I think there's a concern, there's a lot of people down on Spencer Knoll with small children.
Okay.
And God bless. And this particular time, I don't think that, the traffic, because you're, I just don't think they
Okay.
And everything else looks, this is the upper portion of,
That's the open
That's a little-
space. That's an open space in the middle of the
Yeah.
conservation restriction, it says. I mean, it seems to me that the things that really need to be looked at are the utilities particularly.
yes.
I noticed we have some electrical utility boxes and things like that. So they would need a sign off from the electric light department.
Mhm.
And I'm sure there's water in there somewhere.
Looks like the fire plugs are all in the right place.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe just for that one particular utility, so.
Yeah. Right between the lots here.
Yeah, there would be a box located.
Box.
Generally, it's a property line between two lots, and it's
Right.
supplied two lots off of one box.
The last time I was up there, I think all the lots are almost all built.
Yeah, we're gonna add some additional houses. In fact, this spring, or this fall, or the summer, they put the final coat of pavement down.
This is where you're coming up from April Street, is it? No,
No, that's wild pasture.
that's Wild Pasture, okay.
Yeah, this is off of,
Just down,
It's in the
Weathersfield.
Weathersfield, off of Weathersfield here. So you get the okay, you get the Weathersfield.
you got the Weathersfield?
Yeah.
Oh, here's Weathersfield, yeah. You're coming, the last one. From Arrowhead.
Yeah. Weathersfield comes in, it's pasture, wild pasture road to Arrowhead, in an Arrowhead circle.
Electric box.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything.
And the only other one would be what, drainage, catch basins, that type of thing,
Mhm.
which would be under highway.
Right.
And curbing and road width and that type of stuff would come under highway also.
And Kirk didn't find anything on our planner, right?
Okay. And he doesn't say anything in his letter.
So,
They've had the ongoing
Drainage easement.
flooding issue up there with that resident at the bottom of the hill, previous house. But I mean, I think the plan, I think it's built the way it was planned. There probably was some engineering issues when.
when it comes to culverts,
The water runoff and the culvert is not large enough that goes underneath,
but then you have to be,
Weathersfield Street.
that has to be, you have to be very careful about the,
Yeah, we can't,
about culverts,
you have to engineer the culvert all the way down to the river,
all the way to the river, has
which
to
is a
be.
huge amount of money, and it's just one house that tends to get some water damage, I know well in the past.
But if you change that, if you change that culvert, then it's, as you said, from that point, all the way down the river, has to be
You gotta
addressed.
engineer what happens to that water. It only happens in, I think there was a minor problem when this last rainstorm that washed out Prospect Hill. The last time there was a problem was 6-8 years ago, probably the Mother's Day flood. But I don't think the contractor's done what he's supposed to do.
Okay, they do have a drainage area. There's a holding drainage easement
This is
pond.
the water that runs down the hill, and then it combines with the water that runs down Weathersfield Street.
Okay,
Where is that
And there's a
drainage?
huge swamp area or wetland area in there.
drainage easement is an access, and this is a drainage easement here.
What happens is it floods for a short period of time, maybe an hour or two with the heaviest rain, and then it goes right down. So there's no blockages or anything, it's just a matter of the tremendous amount of water that can go down in there.
Does it fill up that easement, that water easement that's at the bottom?
Yeah, well, there's, the easements are at the, yeah, there's a couple of drainage ditches. or
Drainage
whatever they
ditches.
put ponding, and it fills those, and
I mean, we just, ask Kirk, send a letter
Well,
over.
there again, that's conservation, so.
Yeah, that's true too.
They need to kind of look at that, I
we
think.
worked with we tried to work with the homeowner, and had made some, at the time, it was Selectmen Dazell, myself, and Highway Surveyor Scott.
Yeah, that was back about, what, 7 or 8 years? That was during
Well,
Mother's
back
Day,
in Probably it was
2006?
the Mother's Day floods. That was around that time, we had 2 or 3 situations in a row.
That was May of 2006, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
probably.
Yeah.
But we made some suggestions, and the homeowner never really followed through on them, so I mean, it's only one house that's the problem, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is there any other comments?
Well, Kirk hasn't noted anything in particular. Drainage, easement.
That's another one. That's the second.
That development's been in a long time now, a number of years, so it's just a matter of they had to pave it and do some other things to make the road acceptable.
I think that first, 2004?
Yeah, it probably goes back sometime.
2004.
that time.
Yeah, see, the conservation has a restriction
Mhm.
there. 20-foot wide easement restricting clearing and/or cutting of existing trees or vegetation. I think there's probably some conservation land here. This says something up here about land.
Mhm.
There's some signs up there that say conservation.
So there's nothing in there in the packet from either Kirk or the
No,
planning
They're gonna
board?
have the hearing coming up.
Okay.
they just wanted us to look at it, see if anything jumped out at us. And then there's some more drainage easements here, so,
I guess just asked about
yeah.
the drainage.
There's
Sure it's adequate.
some head walls and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. So, something else that looks like drainage issue. This is conservation restriction there, probably some sort of an easement getting into some backland.
It's a very nice development.
It's an Knowles Road, that's where that ties into.
Mhm.
This is the upper section of it. There's some more drainage stuff here, there's a head wall there, where they invert. That's one of the easements that goes down one of those holding ponds, drainage ponds, so. All right,
Yeah.
so, does anybody else want to take a closer look at this?
No, I think I looked at it before, so.
Okay. Jack?
It's pretty well designated all the areas up there. Conservation got signs posted
Yeah.
all around. And when you go down to make the loop around Oak Ledge, that cut that goes over to Spencer Knolls, that's all been resurfaced and, like you say, Bob.
It still has the
blocked
Jersey
off.
Jersey
You
barriers
got,
there.
yeah, one right at Spencer Knolls, and then there's one further back.
I think one of the biggest problems that have up there over time is
That's
like in
something
a
else.
storm like
That's
this,
yours,
the
right?
roads are not real wide.
No, they're not.
No,
So plowing is gonna be a difficult situation, but that's the way it was designed, so the planning board accepted that at the time. But that's gonna be an ongoing issue up there is plowing.
Okay. So, nothing further, nothing to vote on. Our next new business is discuss fiscal year 16 primary budget guidelines. And until we have some clear indication on whether or not state aid will be cut, level funded or increased, and what we should expect for increases from Triton, we should plan to have expense budgets level funded and wage increases as stipulated in the collective bargaining agreements. The board needs to vote on the following preliminary guidelines. 1, expenses, level fund department expense budgets. However, departments needing operational increases need to clearly identify the reasons why the increase is needed. The Board of Selectmen anticipates that some department expense budgets may need increases in fiscal 2015 to cover utility expenses, etc. Item number 2, union employee wages. The employees covered under ratified collective bargaining agreements, please provide for employee wage changes as stipulated in the agreement. Non-union, the board needs to approve the attached FY16 compensation schedule, which reflects a 1% cost of living increase. And that is attached here.
I'll give you a motion, Mr. Chairman. You wanna divide it up between expenses and the two wage items, or?
You can just vote on these and I will get the process going,
I'll give you a motion to approve the
the guidelines.
preliminary guidelines for expenses and wages.
I'll second that.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. And item number 3 under new business is discuss Triton District Communications Committee meeting scheduled for February 12th. Vice Chairman Joe Perry will discuss this agenda item with the board.
My turn.
Your turn.
The Triton School Committee is requesting that the Board of Selectmen in each of the 3 member towns vote to post a meeting for the Thursday, February 12th District Communications meeting scheduled at Triton Library. And we will be discussing the renovation and work on the stadium project.
So what they're telling us, they want us to go to that meeting as a complete board?
That's correct.
Okay.
Now, what we have discussed is the board, the members who were there. We had members from Newbury Finance and just one selectman. Peter Sensulo and was it Dennis?
Dennis Roy.
Dennis Roy and myself represented Rowley, and there was one fellow from Salisbury representing, I believe he was a selectman. And so we were talking about in discussing the project, and Brian is still hopeful that since they are really talking about going ahead with the project, getting something done with the project, that he may be able to get some more donations and to reduce the cost to the three towns. That being said, we're still hopeful on that score. We took a poll as to who was there at the meeting for the district communications, and we decided that we would support coming back to the towns and saying that instead of going for a 15-year bond, we'd go for a 20-year bond, which would reduce our possible payment from $93,000 a year to 70, I believe it's 73. I've left my figures on, but it's in the low 70s. So that was one discussion that we had, and that we thought we would support that. But what they would like to do, because this is budget season, they've already had their preliminary budget meeting on Saturday, a workshop on Saturday morning to start setting up their budget. They need to vote to find out where the towns are with the going as to whether we're going to do an override for the monies, how we're going to handle it. And so they need some information from the towns, some assurance from the towns as to what our intentions are, whether we're going to support this. It is a case of it's all or none, and that's important to remember. So I would like to, I would hope that we would be able to, as a board, meet on Thursday, February 12th at the Triton Library to discuss with Newbury and Salisbury the renovations of the stadium
How are
with the
other-
district communications
Is
meeting.
there any, do you have any indication of how the other boards are going to look at this from the other towns? Are they thinking on an override? Or-
Well, it was funny going around the board. I'll answer your question in a roundabout manner. That Newbury started out with, well, we have other things to consider. We really need to work on our town hall. We need a fire station, or a police station, or is it a fire station?
Police
I'm not-
station.
Police station. And I said, well, we're in the same boat, that we'd like to do our part for the stadium, but we have a public safety building that we're considering, and Salisbury is building an $8 million, is it an $8 million library? They're building a library.
Yes.
That's in the works right now. They're going to build a police station and a fire station. And so all of the towns have other issues going on. So, I didn't hear any direct indication on whether, I think Newbury may have mentioned that they were going to talk about an override. But I'm not exactly sure. Salisbury said no. They would not put it on an override.
They would not put an override.
I believe that's
Okay.
what he said. But there was only one member of Salisbury, so, it was just, he was offering his personal opinion. As I was offering
Historically,
mine.
in Newbury, the overrides have not,
Done well. That's
have
true.
passed, have not passed.
That's true. That's very true.
Well, the difficulty we're gonna have, of course, we don't have any kind of a idea on the budget
No?
at this particular point at all. I think all three towns are in favor of the concept, because without the project, they can't use the field up there, basically.
Right.
There's no stands, and the stands have been condemned.
Right,
So it's a matter of how it gets funded.
right.
So
And they did indicate, is it, I forget the name of the company, but they said that it would almost be self-sufficient, that they could rent it out to a number of soccer groups and football groups and everybody, so that it would be almost run at no cost to the towns.
I'm leery about those
And
kinds of promises.
refurbishing the fields and all that kind of
Well,
stuff.
when they say no cost to the town, do they mean that we're still gonna have to pay
update cost, or yearly maintenance.
Yearly
cost.
maintenance cost.
No, it would cover the yearly maintenance
And I
cost.
That's
think-
what I mean, it would cover the year, but not
Right,
gonna
but
cover
what,
the.
is it gonna
It's not gonna
cover
cover,
payments.
is it gonna cover the initial cost?
No.
Not the initial
No.
cost.
In the yearly cost, it's not gonna cover
But
that.
what they would do, the turf would have to be replaced every so many years. I forget
Right.
now exactly what the number of years
14,
is. And they would be putting aside from revenues enough money so that they would have a fund available to pay for that in the turnaround.
In other words, like they use gate fees and stuff now they put it back into the athletic programs.
Correct.
I think what they're talking about doing is taking all those gate fees and stuff and putting them into the revolving fund that would maintain the stadium rather than be used for
Correct.
And-
programming.
And plus, they'll be able to rent that out to
Well, that's where
different
the fees
soccer
would go,
groups.
Yes.
I mean, do they do that now fully, or is it,
No, 'cause
No.
you can't with a grass.
you can't, wait,
No.
wait,
They have to get
but this could open up to other possibilities if this goes
That's
through.
that was their intention.
Okay.
Yeah, except
good.
the
But is that money will only be for the yearly upkeep of the
That would
field?
go into the revolving fund to
Okay.
take care of
But
the
not
work
for
the field.
the initial cost of the field?
That's correct.
Okay.
And the problem with some of that is everybody else is getting these fields too, so,
Mhm.
it's the competition for the rental is gonna be, we're not the only ones that are gonna have an artificial field. Georgetown, Newburyport,
Kentucky too, I think, isn't it?
Kentucky, they're gonna have them, so, but I mean, there'll be some money towards the annual maintenance anyway, but we still have to come up with the 73 or the 95,000.
The initial cost would be up front.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be, on a personally, I think it would be nice if we can get it into the budget, but then as we told, we've had a couple of meetings with superintendent on other issues, and we've kind of mentioned to them the fact that if they got, if we're gonna get a hefty increase in the Triton operating budget, we're not gonna be able to fund the additional money for the field out of our
Yeah.
regular money. It would have to go on an override.
Right.
And we may well have an override on the warrant anyway for the Pine Grove engineering
That's right.
study, so, we got, I think probably we're in support of the project, but how we're gonna fund it is still really up in the air. I'm not sure how much information we'll have by, February 12th. But,
Yeah, that's only 10 days away.
yeah, I'm not anticipating any great new information coming in the next 2 weeks here, I don't believe.
No.
I've been kind of following the budget a little bit, but I think I'll certainly make an attempt to be at the meeting, and
Okay.
Well, if we have if we have more members of the board, we'll have to have a posted meeting.
well, why don't we ask the town administrator to post it anyway?
Right.
If we have a quorum, fine, if we don't,
Then it's not an issue.
It's
Yeah.
not an issue.
Do you know what time that is, Mr.
7
Perry?
o'clock,
7 PM at the Triton Library?
Triton, the library, Triton High School
Triton
Library.
High School Library.
Thank you.
That's it?
That's all I got.
Okay, that's good. All right, that takes care of new business. Now we're into old business. And old business number 1 is town administrator update. And Debbie will provide the board with an update on pending projects.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to touch base with the board on a few things. One actually just came up about an hour and a half ago. The highway department needs to purchase a plow as soon as possible. I said purchase it. Their plow has been damaged on one of the trucks. They can't use it. That's put a truck out of service for the storm.
It's the
So they've just-
the plow that's on the 1996, which is one of the older trucks. And Dave, remember, I think that's on the list for capital at some point.
They just need a plow.
They need to purchase a
broke,
plow.
yes,
They ordered it this evening. I just said, you need to order this. So they were concerned, the highway surveyor was concerned as to how he would absorb this expense in his budget. And I said, well, it's emergency and
What kind
unforeseen.
of cost is it?
It's about $7,500.
Oh, okay.
And basically, he did call a distributor and they have one in stock.
Get it quick.
Well, I think he's gonna call tomorrow
Yeah,
and tell him that.
well, I told him to do it right away, and I think he did.
Okay.
Actually, I just saw him about an hour ago.
Well,
Yeah.
has he got money in the expense budget? Then we should-
Well, he has money in the expense budget. He's concerned because he doesn't want to result in a shortfall at the end of the fiscal
Oh, yeah,
year, but
maybe we can slide into snow and ice too, or it's snow and ice related.
alternatively, that's another funding option.
Probably would be the best bet. Yeah,
So,
need a motion, or you need,
no, I just told him he needed to buy it right away, and
Gotta
Yeah.
do it.
They're predicting something for the weekend now, then, but they're not talking about it very much, so
Yeah.
that makes me nervous.
Yes.
so.
I guess we got no objections then, right? So just go ahead and.
Yeah,
Objections?
no, yeah, if at some point we need some official action,
Yeah.
we'll bring it forward.
Piece of equipment you need.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's-
Truck sitting idle, you gotta have it to work.
I know,
We could just be thankful
not
it's
a-
not Hannikin, New Hampshire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
burnt up there, I guess, isn't it?
They lost all their
They
equipment.
lost everything, yeah.
Fire up there.
Well, they're talking snow on Thursday, snow showers on Friday in the morning,
Then Sunday,
and then Sunday they're talking about snow showers again.
yeah.
And the snow on Monday.
Sunday into Monday, that's the one they're hesitating on at this point.
Yes. They're not predicting the amount. Yeah.
Winter has to go.
And it will someday.
Okay, just a few other things. We had a bid opening today for the town hall floor project, so we're going through that, the low bidder, and so hopefully I can get that work underway. Regarding the town hall window project, all the windows have been installed, everything's working well. I did order the 3 additional windows that the board indicated that would be a good idea within that existing budget, so those are on order. I'm working with the harbor master on the town landing, the wharf repair project. This is the rot in the wharf, this is separate from the dock work we're doing. So, I'm working with him and finishing up the bid document, so that will be released on Wednesday, February 4th. That's within our capital plan for fiscal 15, as the board will remember. I did ask Harbor Master Bill Demento for an update on the status of the dock purchase. So he said that he had reached out to the low bidder to confirm some of the details of the manufacturing of the dock material. He hadn't heard back, and we're still moving forward on the RFQ process for the public safety feasibility study. So it's been an evaluation of the proposals. There should be a report issued at some point, and then the finalists will be brought forward to the selectmen. So
Okay,
that's where things stand.
very good. Okay. That takes care of old business, and the next agenda item is minutes. And we have minutes for November 24th, 2014.
For the executive meeting.
Yeah, I've actually got 2 copies of the executive meeting,
Yes.
and I don't seem to have the copy for the regular meeting.
I can hold these over, I'm sorry, I
I just wanted to check.
told Amy not to come back to work.
Yeah, I have 2 copies of the
Executive?
executive.
Okay, the package got 2 copies of the executive,
Yeah,
and we can get the
I don't know
regular.
where they are, so I apologize.
So we can go on to the executive if you want.
If you can just take up the remaining that you have, and
Yeah.
then I'll make sure that you get those if you haven't seen those.
Give your motion on the executive meeting of November 24th.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Executive session are accepted. Okay, the November 2014, we're missing December 1st.
I give you a motion on December 1st.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye.
I abstain, I wasn't here.
Jack abstained, 1 abstention. Okay. The next one will be December 22nd.
Give you a motion?
Second?
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are accepted. And January 12th, and I think we had somebody that was, no, I guess not. Wasn't
Give you a
here.
motion?
Second?
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, that accepts the minutes with the exception of the November 24th regular session. Okay. Announcements. The public hearing on the proposed reconstruction of Central Street with Highway Surveyor Patrick Snow and Norman Brown of Bayside Engineering has been rescheduled to Monday, February 23rd, 2015 at 7:30 p.m. at Town Hall. So the people on Central Street, hopefully you hear this, and we will be sending notices, etc. The town has the following vacancies. Fence viewer, 3 positions. Wood, lumber, and bark inspector. Zoning Board of Appeals Associates, 2 open seats. Historical Commission, Historic District Commission, 2 seats. Parks and Recreation Committee, 2 seats. Open Space Committee is seeking members. For more information on these positions, please contact the Selectmen's office at 948-2372. Raleigh Food Pantry is in need of donations. The food pantry is open Tuesdays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and Thursdays from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. And you can also drop your items off at the library, and they'll get them to the pantry.
Mr. Chairman, could I ask you to make one more announcement?
Sure.
I spoke to the water superintendent today. She is concerned that they still have a number of hydrants that are covered in snow. And there's been a number of residents who have taken the time to dig out the hydrants near their homes, but if there's anybody else in the town that has a hydrant near their house and is physically able to do so, it would be a great help to the water department at this point in time.
And to themselves if they have an issue that needs a hydrant. So, yeah, if people, you can take a look at them, particularly now that we've got another foot or so of snow, probably more at this point. Even if you did it the first time, we may need to just kind of re-inspect it, make sure it's visible. And we would like a 3-foot radius around the hydrant so that the firemen can connect their hoses without any difficulty. And it's being neighborly, and it's a good neighborhood thing to do, and it also protects your property. And I'm sure their insurance company would be very happy. So if you could do that, that would be very much appreciated by the town of Raleigh, the water department, and the Board of Selectmen. So, thank you.
Also, Mr. Chairman, just a reminder that tomorrow night is the water board meeting that was canceled from last week due to the storm.
Okay,
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock
At the
tomorrow
water
night,
board.
water board.
on Central
You're
Street.
planning on going, Bob?
Oh, yes, I'm
Yes.
going.
Okay, very good. Okay, I think that does it. The next item is adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
You ever notice that's the quickest